Today we're going to use properties of addition, and we're going to say how can properties help you add fractions with unlike denominators, which we've been adding unlike denominators, right? What did we have to do with those so we could add them? We had to make them common denominators, okay? You can use properties of addition to help you add fractions with unlike denominator. Remember, parentheses tell which operations to do first. So here, if you look at this, they gave you 1/2 plus 3/5 equals 3/5 plus 1/2. Okay, that's the commutative property, right? We just switch the numbers around. Here we did the associative property. We have 2/9, 1/8, and 3/8. Why did they come over here and group the 1/8 and 3/8?
Because they have a common denominator.
Because they have a common denominator. Okay? Good job. So what you're going to be looking for today is fractions that have the same denominator, right? To group together. And the associative property of addition states that when the grouping of add-ins is changed, the sum is the same. So it doesn't matter if we add 5 plus 8 first and then 4, or 8 plus 4 and then 5, we're going to get the same sum. Here is our problem for today. Jane and her family are driving to Big Lagoon State Park. On the first day, they travel 1/3 of the total distance. On the second day, they travel 1/3 of the total distance in the morning, and then 1/6 of the total distance in the afternoon. How much of the total distance has Jane's family driven by the end of the second day? So one day they do 1/3, the next day they do 1/3 and 1/6, and they want to know how much of the total distance. So here it is, 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/6. Now they grouped 1/3 and 1/6. What would it be better for us to group?
1/3 and 1/3.
So here they move them. And then they put parentheses around the 1/3 and the 1/3. It says use the associative property to group fractions that are like denominators together. Use mental math to add the fractions with like denominators. So what's 1/3 plus 1/3?
2/3.
2/3. Now write equivalent fractions with like denominators, then add. So what are we going to change 2/3 to? So that we can,
6.
right, so we can add it to 6. And to do that, we would have to multiply it by 2/2. So we would have 4/6 plus 1/6 to equal 5/6. So Jane's family has driven 5/6 of the total distance by the end of the second day. Okay, go on to page 282. We're going to look at, it says use the commutative property and the associative property to solve this problem. Okay, so we have 2 5/8 plus 1 2/3 and 1 1/8. So what are we going to put in the parentheses on this side?
2 5/8 and 1 1.
Okay, and that would leave us our 1 2/3 outside the parentheses. Oh, what did they do there? Oh, they just moved, they commuted. They just moved the 2 5/8. Okay, now in this step, they're going to move their parentheses, right? Then they're going to add, so here we should see 2 5/8 and 1 1/8, which would be 3 6/8, and then 1 2/3. What is going to be our common denominator of 3 and 8? 24. So what am I going to have to multiply 1 2/3 by to get 24s?
8/8.
So 8/8, which gives us 16 24s. What am I going to have to multiply 3 and 6/8 by
3 over 3.
3 over 3, which is going to equal 3 and 18/24. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we were right. 1 and 16/24 and 3 and 18/24. So if we add 16 and 18, we get 34/24. We add our 1s, we get 3 and 1 to make 4. Can we leave 34/24?
No.
That's an improper fraction. The numerator is larger than the denominator. So if we subtract, take 24/24 away from that, that leaves us 5 and 10/24. We can divide each of those by 2 to get what they gave us here, 5 and 12/24. Or 5 and 5/12, sorry. Right, it says, try this, use properties to solve, show each step, and name the property used. So, 282. Are we going to have to use our commutative property here and move anything?
Yes.
Any numbers?
No.
We're just going to use our associative. I'm just going to abbreviate it like that. So when we rewrite this, which you should be doing, we would move our parentheses over to encompass the first 2. Okay, and then we could add that to get 5 and 4/4, right? Plus 1 and 5/12. Now what are we going to do?
Make
Make the 4/4 a 1, so that would be
So then we would have 6 plus 1 and 5/12. So we would have 7 and 5/12. So in this one, we didn't even have to change our denominators. Once we got that 4/4, we could change it to 1 and just add 1 to our 6 to get 7. And then, or 1 to our 5 to get 6, and then add 1 to our 5 and get 7 and 5/12. Okay, let's look at this one. Are we going to have to do some commutative property here? Yes. Okay, so I say that we're going to switch these two. So we're going to have 1/5 plus 2/5 plus 3/10. And in that we use the commutative property. Then we're going to group our fifths. So now we've used the associative property. Now we can add 1/5 plus 2/5, which equals 3/5 plus 3/10. What do we have to multiply 3/5 by to get 10?
2 over 2.
2 over 2, which is 6/10. So now we have 6/10 plus 3/10, which is equal to 9/10. Let's go on to the next page. Okay. Now we're going to go to our share and show, and this is number 1 on the share and show. We're going to have to use what property first in order to group our like denominators? The commutative property. So we're going to do 2 and 5/8. We're going to take 1 and 1/8. We're going to move it over there by the 5/8. We're going to switch it and the 5/6. And we can use our associative property. Whoops. We can use our associative property to group them. Okay. So now I have 2 and 5/8 plus 1 and 1/8. What is 5/8 plus 1/8? 6/8. And 2 plus 1 is
3.
Then I'm going to bring down my 5/6. Now I cannot add 6 and 8. So what is our common denominator of 6 and 8?
48.
Okay, we could do 48. What else could we do?
24.
24 would be our lowest common denominator, or our least common denominator. So I need to make 6/8 into 24ths. What do I have to multiply by? 3. Okay, so 3 times 6 is 18. So this is going to become 3 and 18 24ths, plus I have to get 5/6 to equal 24ths. I have to multiply that by what? 4 4/4. So I have 20 24ths. No whole number in that one. Okay, if I take 18 plus 20, I get what? 24. So I have 3 and 38 24ths. Can I leave that as an improper fraction?
No.
No. So let's make that into a mixed number. So if I have 38 24ths, 24 will go into 38 one time, right? Leaving us how much? What's 38 minus 24? 14 24ths. Can I simplify 14 24ths? Can divide them both by 2.
7/12.
So I get 7/12. So now I have 1 and 7/12. So I'm going to have 4, 3, and I'm going to take my 38 24ths, and I remember I turned that into, so I'm going to put a plus here to signify my 38 24ths, and I'm going to say 1 and 14 24ths. So I'm going to have 4 and 14 24ths, or 4 and 7 12ths. So there was a lot of stuff after we got that added, you got to remember to do. Okay? Okay, this is the number 2. I want you to try and do number 2 on your own, please. Okay, this one we're going to have to use our associative property and move those parentheses so that we get our 12ths together. And leave our 3/4 out here to deal with for later. 5/12 plus 5/12 is 10 12. Plus 3/4. Can we add 3/4?
No.
So let's make 3/4 into 12ths, right?
Yes.
Oops. 3/4 times what equals 12ths? 3/3. So then we have 9/12, which we can add to that, which gives us 19/12, or 1 and 7/12.